Welcome to this HelloID webinar brought to you by Tools Forever. Today we'd like to give you an overview of the new functionality in HelloID. We encourage you to ask questions. You can do this via the WebEx chat option. You can find the option here. At the end of the demonstration, your questions will be answered. I'd like to turn this over now to Cheered Sign-In, HelloID Product Owner and Manager. He will explain and demonstrate the new HelloID functionality. Please enjoy, and don't forget to post a question.
Jamie, thank you for the introduction. Everybody, welcome to this webinar. And this is the product update for the last month we did in 2019, the December release. And this release, we released this on last Sunday. And again, I'd like to go through a PowerPoint presentation to give you a short overview of the functionalities we have created and delivered. And then I'd like to demo you the new functionality. Okay, let's go. First with access management, the first module in HelloID, we now have the option to manage which multi-factors can be used in the MFA flow, where the end user can make a choice from. It's on an organization level, so not per access policy, but you define it for all policies, for the whole portal. I will demo you this functionality later on. Also, we have a security overview in the user profile. So as an end user, you can see in your profile settings when you last log in, from which location, IP address, and also with which multi-factor. And it will bring us a next step further in making the HelloID portal more secure. As an end user, you can see what you have been using in HelloID. This was it for access management. The next module is HelloID provisioning. And we now have an extra option to have an advanced person rule. And this is a new option that is part of the business rule section. And now you can also set conditions, for example, for entitlements, group memberships, of particular attributes of a user. That was not possible with the earlier releases. We also have an evaluation report, so you can see what the provisioning engine is going to do before you actually executing it. So then you can see if HelloID provisioning is accidentally going to do a lot of changes in your network. We also have an advanced department rule, so you can set entitlements is a business rule on particular attributes in the department. And the last new option is that we have the threshold in the target system. So now if, for example, HR or planning or the student information system make a change in the cost center or the departments, and that will result in a lot of changes in your network, you can prevent that from happening. You can set it on an absolute number, so don't change more than 10 user accounts in one go, or a particular percentage. And again, I will demo this functionality, but it is, again, it's a protection mechanism to make sure that provisioning is not doing stuff that you don't want to do. I think it's for us it's a very challenging time now, because in January we will do the first new release in production of HelloID provisioning. So till now we only were developing it, demo it in webinars and presenting this all new functionality, and we're developing this functionality for quite some time now, more than a year. And we now came to we're now at the point that we are finally going to put it in production. So for us as Tools Forever, it's a very, very important step. Again, you can try this yourself, because it's not default turn on. You need to send an email to iSupport requesting access to HelloID provisioning. It is available in preview and production. And I think this is not really true anymore, but I think that will be true for preview, but not for production anymore. So configuration data will be permanent. And the last module is HelloID Service Automation, and that's the last sheet, and then I will demo you the new functionality. it's a very, very small option, but I think can be practical. You now get a warning if you try to delete a form. We have added the data source for input for data and time, so you can pre-fill the date and time component in a form. So if you load up a form, you select a user, for example, from the Active Directory, you can display the expiration date for that user in a form, and then you can make a modification to it. So that was not previously, it was not available. Now you can preload the date and time. You can also do that for date and time, but also for the time component. And we have an option now, you can label the dual list that was not available. That's on here. So for example, you can say here, these are all the available options and these are only that selected for that selected user, for example. It really helped the end user to see what the dual list is about. Last option, a pretty big one, is now you have a variable in the product, and then you can dump the whole approver sequence in, for example, an external system. So this means that all the approvers that has approved the product is available in a variable, and then you can export that, for example, to a database or an external auditing system. And again, I will demo you this in this webinar. Okay, so I think we already mentioned it in the beginning. If you have any questions, put it in the chat box, and then I will answer that straight after the demoing of the software. Okay, so let's go to the portal. So the first thing I'd like to show you is HelloID access management, and the first option is how to control which multi-factors are available for the end user. So I'm about to log in as myself, Tjeerd Seijnen, and let me turn on the camera first. And if I go here, I have multiple factors. So I can use my YubiKey, so plug this in. And here I have the security key. So this is the YubiKey I just plugged in, and if I touch it, I'm actually logging in with a two-factor. So turn on the camera, turn it off again, and now I'm logged in. And as you saw, there were two options I could use. So if I log in again, you can see I have two options. I can use the YubiKey I just used, and I can also use the push to verify message on my iPhone. So let me show you what we have changed here. If I go to the admin portal in security two-factor management, so here I can control portal access, and I have this option here. So this is actually the option I'm using. Let the user choose the MFA option, and I control which MFA options are available. Is now in this section, two-factor management, and there are two options. Web auth, that is the token, the YubiKey, or the push to verify. And there were the exact two options you just showed you here. Yeah, so I have basically two options. And if I turn off one option, oh, by the way, you can see that we are working on a new option I'm very thrilled about. Let me turn on the camera again. And this is this token. And I'm going to demo you this not in this release, but I will demo you this end of January. And I'm very thrilled because now we have a new option, and then you don't need any hardware, USB-C, whatever, to authenticate yourself with a two-factor. Turn off the camera again. And okay, so let me only select one option. So I deselected this one, just choose apply. And if I go back to the end user, myself, logging in, I'm not getting the option, and there's just one option. I don't have a choice anymore because there is only one option left. Okay, so this was how to manage the multi-factors for the MFA flow for an end user, and now I can easily show and make sure what options are available for that end user. So let me log in again. And I can also show you the security overview to make it even more secure. And here I can see that I just logged in a few minutes ago, and I used the YubiKey to use the multi-factor. Okay, so let me continue with another product, and that is I'd like to show you HelloID service automation. And let me switch back over to the admin portal. So the first item I'd like to show you is self-service form. If you want to delete a form, then you get an error or a warning message. Really straightforward. This is this option. I think the more relevant are that you can preload the date and time. So I have created a new form. You have to excuse me, it is in Dutch. I have not time to translate it yet. And it is here. So you have, this is the date and time. You have the date and time here. You also have this option here. And now you can preload it. Basically, you can connect a data source to it. So perhaps you can use a PowerShell script to load, to fill the data source, and then display the retrieved date and time. So I already prepared this to load the expiration date of an AD user and show this in a form. So how did I do this? So let me show you the end result first. So I go to a manager. Most favorite manager is COS, and we have this option here, form to change the expiration date of an end user. So let me search a user, and now it will retrieve the expiration date of that user and show it in this box. Straightforward, but can be very powerful. It's a common used functionality in service automation. So for this user, IJsbrand Seine, the expiration date is the 23rd of February 2020. And of course I can look that up. I already pre-selected that user, and so it is this date. If I change this to never, or well, better is I think to change that to another date. So somewhere in March. Retrieve that same user again. There we go. And now you will see that it is changed to somewhere in March. So how did I configure this? Because this is the end result. This is how you can use it in a form. But how did I do this? I think it's important to start here with the form. I have a data source, expiration date value. So let me start there first. So I go to data source and expiration get value, and it's connected to this task. So I have to go back to continue with the tasks. Search for expiration get value. And here we go. Here I have a PowerShell script that will search for a user and retrieve the account expiration date and put this in this variable. And then this is an important thing because I formatted with format S, and that I will convert to the right format that HelloID is looking for. And I'm putting this in expiration date. And if you really go back to the form, I'm actually using this expiration date as a variable to display. Well, perhaps not really straightforward, but it didn't take me too much time to configure it and to show the expiration date of a selected user and make it an option to change. This is of course I didn't show it, but I can also change it here. I can change it to another date, and you can say yes, I want to do it that way. Go back to the user, and then it's changed to the end of March. So it goes both ways. The other option I'd like to show you is the dual list option, and now you have the option to make it a little bit more sophisticated, that you can show where the dual list boxes are about. And I already have a form to manage the group memberships, and this is here. And now you see there's nothing above this, so I don't actually know what these groups are about. So now I have the option here to say these are, for example, all groups, and this is groups for the user. And now I can see these are all the groups, and these are the groups for the user. Simple change, but again, powerful to show what it is for the end user. So now I will go to the approved sequence, and that's I think a little bit more complicated to show you, but let's start with the product. So we extended the option in a product because it's not relevant for a form, it's only relevant if there is an approval sequence. So we have modified Visio, product definition here, and there is a workflow defined for this, and it's a two-step approval, and this is the change. Display approval is not really a nice example, but this action is changing the group membership. After that, the request is being approved, and here's the change. This is what we have extended, and it is a variable. It's the request approval history, and I'm using to JSON string, but actually in this variable is stored the whole approval after the product has been approved, after the end user has requested it. So this is the change. This is what we have added, and of course you can just display. This is a dummy placeholder, but of course you can put this data in a help desk system or in a database or an external auditing system, the whole trail of the approval sequence. So let me quickly demo how this looks like. So it is Visio. As an end user, I can go to Visio. I request this, and I choose the short route. Go to the manager. So let's go to the inbox. Here's the product request, waiting for an approval. And I can say first step, approval by COS. There we go. The next step in line is the admin. Obviously something went wrong, hopefully not for the whole of this demo. Let's go to the admin, because that was the next person in line. That was this. Okay, it went, I don't know where the error message was about, but I can say this is the second step. Yep. So it is approved. I don't know what went wrong. Perhaps I can see it in the log. Let me go there. And this is self-service, is request history. So the Visio approve should be here. Yeah. Hopefully I'm not too quick. I can see the whole approver sequence. This is the display approver. This was my container to show the whole approver sequence. And let me go to the log. And here I have the input variable. And here it is. This is the approver variable. And here I can see that the first step was by COS. COS Bartman. That's the first step. And this should be the admin. And there it is. So in this variable, approver variable, I have the whole trace of the whole approver sequence, and I can make any export, and I can use it any way I like to dump the whole audit trail of the approval. Okay, a little bit of a complicated thing. So excuse me for the error message that passed by. And let me now go to the last section or the last module, and that is provisioning. We also have included a new shortcut for that, and that is this option here. So let me go through the new options we have in HelloID provisioning. And I already mentioned it during the PowerPoint presentation, but we are very, very thrilled that we come live coming Monday with our first provisioning client here in the Netherlands. So let me show you the new options. And we have two new rules, and it's the person rule and the department rule. The department rule you are already familiar with. But we have changed the rule mechanism a little bit, but also for the, I think the major changes is the advanced person rule. So let me go to the business rules. I created a standard one, account create, enable the account and set a group membership, but the condition is only on an active contract. This is basically the section that has been changed. And I can use a lead time and grace period, let's say 90 days. That was already in the product too. The UI was a little bit different, but here are the advanced rules. And the department is more or less the same as you already were familiar with. This is a little bit, the UI is a little bit changed, but I can still define the sales particular department if I like. I say, okay, I want to make this department in scope. And I can also change the, this is new, because now I can set a filter on a particular person attribute. And for example, I can say, okay, I only want to see it for the male. I can say, okay, I want to see this for the male people. And then I can see I have these males in our system. I can change that to, I think it's F. And I can immediately see where the females are. So really simple, and so I can actually filter on any person attribute in the HelloID Vault. Well, let me remove this, and so now the filter is only applicable for this set of users. And if I apply, then you will see that the scope will change. And 26 people will be removed out of the scope of this rule. I think this is also interesting to see if because this is another change we have changed or added. It's the evaluation report. I can start the evaluation here. And you can see that he wants to delete all the accounts that are out of scope of the rule I just changed. If I do start enforcement, it will actually execute these changes. And I think this is also a good moment that I can show you the thresholds, and that is in the target system. You can specify that for every target system that is available, and here I can specify the threshold. So for example, I say there's a maximum of 10 accounts I want to delete in one provisioning session. And this is of course important if something goes wrong with the import or data is corrupted from the HR system, or the HR department does a lot of changes for example, a department name, that can have a high impact on the provisioning in the network. And that's of course what you don't want. You want to have a safety mechanism to prevent unwanted bulk changes in the HR system. So suppose I say I don't want to revoke account access. So set that to 10. And if I rerun the evaluation report, I can actually see, because now this was the previous run, if I run it again, it will actually block. It won't delete. It will disable, but it won't delete. So here you can see it won't delete, But now that the deletes are not there, it only wants to disable. And actually you can also specify one for disable as well. Of course, it's easy here. Threshold. This is of course the access, and let's specify that for 15. There we go. Can rerun the evaluation. Now you can see it only wants to remove the membership of the group. If I enforce, so I want to really execute, it will remove the memberships, but it won't disable the account and it won't remove the account. And you can see here there is a question mark alert for the entitlements, and here I can see that there is a blocked, there's a blocking issue with hitting the threshold. So you can see the number of people that are being blocked, and I set it to 10 and 50. That was in the threshold level. And what I can do, I can say that I want to enforce it this way. So I want to revoke these accounts. So this is a way to do it. Now these accounts will be revoked and the threshold will be overruled. Because I think that I can say this is the good way to do it. So there it is. Now it's being enforced. Another way, something is wrong, but I'm not really lucky today with the error messages, so excuse me for that. Another way, of course, is to remove the threshold as a whole. So I can say, here's the threshold and it is the revokes. There we go. So now it's still blocked. But if I rerun the evaluation, now it's removed. So there is no blocked anymore, and the accounts are being deleted and and the access is being removed. Okay, this is it. This is what I wanted to show you today. Again, we are very excited about this new functionality. And again, also, if you want to have access to this functionality, please send an email to isupport@toolsforever.com. Let me go back to the PowerPoint presentation. I see there are some questions, and so let me go to the question screen. That was the wrong button. Sorry for that. That's better. Jamie, can you read out the questions for me? Thank you for doing that. Okay, let's go. Let's go for the first question.
Thanks so much, Tjeerd. Yeah, a couple of questions. When is the next customer going live with HelloID provisioning?
The next customer that will go live, so we do the first customer live in January. That's going to be next week. And in February we will do the next one. So that will be the second one. And then shortly after we will starting to add a lot more provisioning clients. We'll double that every month. So by August we are at 20 or 30 per month. But I will update you after we have brought the first one live, and we'll give you an update about that. Yep, thank you for your question. I think the next one.
Okay, it looks like you've got a lot of apps in your service desk tab. Are these all available for current clients?
Yeah, that's right. There are already a lot of prefab apps in the service tab. Let me put that up. I think no, that's the wrong one. I need to look here. Excuse me. Here you can see in the service desk there are already a lot of prefab apps, and again, I thought I already said, but they are in Dutch currently, and they're not. We can help you configure them because we already have them in place. For example, to manage the group memberships, I can just search for a user, and select the user, and then the details of the user will be shown. So I know for sure that I have the correct user. Select the user, the details of the user will be shown, and I can immediately see all the possible groups that are possible and where the user is already a member of. And of course there are a lot of these kind of apps, and if you want to have these apps, these prefab apps, please let us know at isupport@toolsforever.com, and we can make them available in any language. And again, later on, in a couple of months from now, we will update you about all the functions and features with these standard apps that will be available. Okay, Jamie, next question.
This person is loving the new hardware token. What's the average price for this device, and what's the cost to use it with the HelloID access management?
Yeah, the hardware token, I'm very thrilled about that. That's going to be in the next release. It's a standard default hardware token. It's not an RSA, SafeNet, Gemalto type of token. It's just I would say, a freeware type of token, token2.com. That's the URL or the website where you can actually order them. And the average price of that device is about 15 or 17 euros. But that's just if you buy a couple. If you buy hundreds of them, the price will definitely go lower. And you only have to buy the device. It's free of use if you already have access to HelloID access management. So I think that's very good news.
Okay, how can we add another source system in HelloID provisioning other than the ones that are being built now? Yeah, good question. Yes, you can add other source systems, but not yet. We are currently building that, and by the end of January, so in a couple of weeks from now, we will release that functionality. So then you can add any source system to the HelloID provisioning process. I think very interesting to know as well that we will add that also in the target system. So then you can specify or create any target connector in HelloID, but that will be available in February. Both connector types, source and target, will work with PowerShell scripts. So you can just add your PowerShell scripts and can retrieve and send information from any type of system as long as being supported by PowerShell. And that's virtually everything. Okay, thank you for your attention. I think that this is really the last question. And okay, thank you for your attention, and look forward to see you again in a month from today. Thank you. Bye-bye.